Horsepower Feed supports racing broadcast so that you can enjoy the game. The invitation weekend at Calcutta has attracted the absolute top-notch racing professionals from across India. 4 invitational races at massively varying distances, and the best of the racing fraternity showed up at the press conference to share their thoughts and views about their runners.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Zavare S. Poonawalla Sprinters Cup is sponsored by the Doyon of Indian racing. Now here's a man whose undeniable passion has been a tremendous boon to the sport in India. The owner of the Poonawalla Stud Farm has always been extraordinarily benevolent towards the sport of horse racing. Now pioneering the live broadcast of yearling auction sales is also another feather in the cap of Zavare Poonawalla. Winning the Sprinters Cup is a true test of raw, blistering speed, coupled with the ability to see that pace out over 6 grueling furlongs. The fastest thing on 4 legs in India will be revealed in the Zavare S. Poonawalla Sprinters Cup this invitation weekend in Calcutta.
Cool Rider is a very nice horse who's always run good races, especially with the company that he's meeting on Saturday. He's beaten most of them, when he's met them earlier this year. But I just felt that we need to be encouraging our sport at the moment. We need to be encouraging the young professionals that have runners in this race. We need to encourage, each horse has a story coming into this race, I'm sure, and we need to congratulate all the participants in the Group 1 races. I feel there is a change in the dynamic. I'm seeing different trainers at the invitation this year. Usually you see a certain set of people here. I'm seeing younger people. I'm seeing a change, and I think we need to encourage and clap them home. It's such a big change I'm seeing here this year.
He's well, he's worked very well, and I think he's gone from strength to strength. He's strengthened as a horse. I think when he came here from Pune, when I sent him to Calcutta, he's put on about a good 10 to 15 kilos. He's grown as a horse and he's feeling really well. I think he should run a big race. He's one of the very few 4-year-olds taking on older horses. So I'm just hoping that, the age doesn't matter over here and he's tough enough to take on the older opposition. Well, what's happened is that I think he's found himself out in front every time, and I think he's got a lot of speed from the gates, and I suppose opposition-wise, he's always found it a little easier. So because he's been taking on weak opposition, so now obviously the whole, it's a different ball game. The sprinters are tough; they're fast from the gates. So I think I will leave it to PS Sean because he's experienced enough, and I think that's a call that he will have to take when they jump out of the gates. And depending on how quick my horse jumps out and how well he's positioned in the first furlong, I think PS will take a call from there, and we hope for the best.
The horse is, he has done nothing wrong. I think last time when I rode this, I just went too fast and I missed that race. But after that, he has again won with Neeraj Ravan. And he's having an ability according to me, so he will definitely be there at the post.
After Hyderabad's run, now I am hoping she'll do very well because she showed a good spark in previous outing when she won in Kakatiya Million. Before that, she had two runs were little poor, especially in Mumbai. She ran a very poor race. So that time I was a bit disappointed. I said to run it or not to run it. Even in Chennai, she ran well, a better race than Mumbai, but not up to the mark. But luckily, she's regaining that same form, same spark, what she was showing in the previous runs. After that, I am expecting that my filly will run a very good race over here.
Magleto is really special horse to me. He's a horse of his own personality. He's a little hot-tempered. And it's a really big moment for me because I was granted my trainer's license in November and not even 3 months, and I got to win the SC Jain Sprinters Championship, and I was invited to Calcutta to race him in the Sprinters Cup. Obviously, he's running with the top sprinters of the country, but he's done well for us in Bombay. And he's travelled well over here. He's worked well with Suraj the other day. And we're hoping for a big run from him in Calcutta too. I leave everything to him. That's a big plus point for us actually because we have the best pilot on top. So we leave all the decisions to him. He knows the horse. He's ridden him in Bombay. So everything counts on Suraj.
I mean, he's travelled very well, and I think he's a force to reckon with. Well, how the race will be run, well, I can't predict that for sure. Definitely, there will be two front runners. I think Magulito and Time and Tide will definitely vie for the honors. It'll try to go to the front. I'll try to sit back behind them.
Well, he's a really talented horse. He's done really well for me. He's a 7-year-old, but still going strong. He obviously is running here for the first time, but it's a track similar to Pune where he enjoys, where he's won both his group races. So I'm expecting that he'll do really well here. This race is a pretty open race. We've got a decent draw. The positioning will be quite crucial, and I'm just hoping everything goes well and wins me the big race.
The Dr. M.A.M. Ramaswamy Stayers Cup is run over 3,000 meters and is a real test of stamina and endurance. A horse with the ability to see out a trip of this magnitude is always going to be very special and an extremely fit athlete. Strategy plays a significant role along with the inherent talent, and some of the stoutest pedigrees in India are on display this weekend in Calcutta at the Invitation Carnival Weekend.
He's a very simple horse to ride, at least in the first half of the race. But it's going to be simple. Just try and follow the right horses and ride him to stay.
He's been really riding well, and I can't complain. He won on 3rd Avenue, so that's it. We hope to do it again.
So well, Diff has taken his time to come to hand. He's been a typical long distance sort of horse that took his time. He was very, very lazy early on in his career. He didn't show us anything in the first probably 6-8 months of training. Like I said, that he was very lazy, but we gave him a lot of time. He came to hand, and I thought that he doesn't have any initial speed. So we started him off over a 9 furlongs because I thought that he was just not quick enough to run a race that was shorter. And he surprised us all because he doesn't work much, but on the grass he's a different horse, and he won the first race of his life over a 9 furlongs very convincingly. We threw him into the deep end very soon after that. In his third start, he ran the Pune Derby, but he's just gone from strength to strength from there. He gave me my first Derby, which is obviously very special, and like I said, that he's only getting stronger with age. He's a nice horse. He has loads and loads of stamina. He hasn't disappointed me at all, and he's run some fantastic races with some very, very good company, like in King's Ransom and Juliet. I think, like I said, stamina is his forte, so that's why we opted for the Stayers. We had a choice between the Invitation and the Stayers. It was very difficult to choose between the two, but I just felt that he goes very well for Trevor, and since Trevor was riding Jamari in the Invitation, we just decided to run him in the Stayers and have Trevor on board.
He's a one-pace horse, okay, and he can gallop till the cows come home. And he's a distance. He's a horse made for that distance. And unfortunately, he never liked the Bangalore track. And whatever he's done on a flatter track. And hopefully, I think, Calcutta being a flatter track, and he'll definitely do well. And he's been working very, very well.
What my father brought to Indian breeding was that before he came into breeding in 1972, most breeders had very old-fashioned techniques of breeding, and they were not really horsemen. My father, being from the 61st Cavalry, brought in techniques of horse rearing, paddock management, large, massive green paddocks, lucerne, and various other things that until then had not been the standard. He also brought in the element of speed into horse breeding. Until then, most of the stallions and mares that were purchased by Indian breeders were stamina and oriented. So over time they were breeding slower and slower horses. My father, went out and bought horses that had a lot more speed and precocity, and because he was a natural horseman, his eye was so good that he could pick the right horse with perfect conformation that then became the foundational families of Usha. Why this race, Major P.K. Mehra Memorial Cup, is a race that every trainer and every owner wants to win. Is not just because of what my father brought to Usha, but what Major P.K. Mehra has brought to the Indian racing and breeding tradition and scene as a whole. He is seen by his generation and generations later as the hero figure, as a figure that everyone wants to emulate. And you take his name and they say, oh my God, what a great horseman he was. And that's what he's been known for, and that's why the race is so prestigious. And every year I remember so many trainers coming up to me, ma'am, my dream is to win this race. And I used to wonder why. They said, it carries your father's name and he was my hero. And that is saying much more than anything else.
Yeah, it's been a pretty long time. I mean, everybody's been talking about it. You're coming down from mile and a half to 1600, but I don't think so. That's an hindrance at all. Because I always thought it was good over a mile. And yes, we took a chances. We took a dig at the mile and a half. Okay, like he ran a brilliant race. Okay, where unfortunately, he lost the race. But I think a mile would be a much better race for him. We have to have options open, because it's going to be a fast run race, and I don't want to be caught up there, and somebody cutting pace with me. I'll probably think about coming from behind.
I don't know about winning, but he's very well. He's worked brilliantly. I think he's taking on really good horses, the best milers in the country. He's right up to his mark now, because this is his pet distance. I think he's going to run a really big race. The danger, I think, is Star is Born, because he's also almost a local horse. He's been based over here. The horses that have travelled and come will be at a slight disadvantage, but both are looking very good, Mojito and Naughty Charmer from Prasanna's yard. But I think Destroyer and Star is Born is going to fight it out.
I've got Ivaldo running. Ivaldo has come back after a setback, but he's working very well. And I think he's probably the best miler I've seen, in ages. So I think the only drawback is he doesn't have a benefit of a run. That's the only thing. But I think he'll run a good race. He's working brilliantly well. I think he'll race well.
The HPSL Indian Turf Invitation Cup is historically the toughest race to win in Indian horse racing. Champions from all the racing centres of India must be nominated, not entered, to then compete for top honours and a permanent place in history as the best of a generation. Unlike the Indian Derby, the Invitation Cup is open to all age groups, and this mile-and-a-half classic trip crowns the undisputed best horse of the year.
He's a good horse, and he's your favorite. I hope he wins, yeah. He is doing fantastic. He is enjoying his morning workouts, and he is fit as a fiddle. And he'll put his best performance in this race, I'm sure. Yeah, I think Neeraj is the right rider for this horse, Neeraj has got that patience to ride on the horse. He will be the right replacement for Suraj in this particular race, because Suraj has won all his races on this horse. And I think the perfect replacement for this horse is Neeraj. He'll run a hell of a race, and hopefully it is going to be dead heat.
No, well, he's ran a brilliant race in Bangalore. He's never gone travel the distance before, mile and a half. He's never traveled, and we took our chances. Put a final entry. We took our chances, and he ran a brilliant third. And I think from there on, he's really improved. And his works have been very suggestive that he'll stay the trip.
He's been always running start to finish. So most probably he'll be doing the same. And hopefully he wins. The thing is that Yash was the top jockey in the first three of India from the day he started riding in races. Okay, people are believing now, but I know from the day one when he started, he was the champion jockey as an apprentice. Unfortunately, he had an accident, and after that, once he has come back, and if he's in the front, nobody can beat him.
He's quite simple, and the fractions, I think he does his job. He knows his job well from the front, and I don't have to do much with him. I just have to guide him home and expect him to stay better than the others on that day. In the Bangalore Derby, he didn't like the going, honestly, because in the turning track he's a big made horse. When he went to Hyderabad on a good track, you saw the difference. So, and Calcutta is somewhat similar, and the shorter straight will help him.
Synthesis is doing well. He's taken the travel well, and he's come up after a setback in the Ruya. He's proved it to everyone. He's run a game second. He's run second to Enabler, who I think is as good as any horse running over here. He's travelled well. He's taking to the track very well. He's matured. He's settling much better than he used to earlier. He was a bit of a hard puller. So I think that with a little bit of luck in the race, we should definitely be able to win the Invitation Cup.
She's very well. I think she'll do it again here. And hat-trick is on the cards, and we are very confident and gung-ho about it. As they say, champions don't have excuses, and she's won in a very short Pune straight. The Calcutta straight is longer, so it should be up her alley, and I don't think it should be an issue. Well, we are calculating the age. She's not. She's bursting out of her skin just now. She's feeling really well, and we'll see. 4 p.m. Sunday.